Hello everybody, my name is Eric Wire from Between the Bolter and Me, and I'm here again for another Orruk unboxing sort of review and look at one of the new boxes, Iron Jaw boxes, this time for the Orruk Brutes. And yeah, so this is one of the just new main sets that they released for Age of Sigmar, kind of the main Orc boys per se for the Iron Jaw army or warband whatnot. And you can see here they look a lot like the Mega Boss, like sort of the War Boss like character that I actually unboxed a little earlier, just a little bit smaller, but they kind of look like sort of like the Ard boys as well, pretty large, bulky armor, and to be honest they kind of remind me of in the Forge World Contemptor Dreadnought with this sort of bulbous, sort of round armor here, and then just sort of the armor plates and whatnot. But if we actually turn this around here, you can see they actually come with a bunch of different weapon options, which admittedly I'm not particularly well versed in these, like Jagged, Gore, Haka, and I don't know, kind of typical Warhammer Games Workshop kind of ridiculous names, but whatever, that's fine. But yeah, so they have these two-handed ones, and they actually kind of interestingly they have this sort of claw arm for the boss, which is sort of very reminiscent to like the power claws in like 40k orcs. But so then yeah, they have this sort of big two-handed guy, and then just sort of more normal choppas and hand weapons. But they have like all of them with their big armor, but some very sort of interesting design features that kind of make each little orc a little bit unique looking. Like some of them have like just sort of more like armored sort of feet here, but then they have the ones with just sort of these neat boots, or interestingly they have one that even just has bare feet, which I could see some people not being too thrilled about, but it looks like it's well made, so I'm not going to complain there. But yeah, I guess I'll actually get to opening this and we can actually look at the sprues here. So, let's see here. Should be good enough. I'm not even sure exactly what size base these are. Probably 40mm bases. But we'll see here very shortly. Set this off to the side. So you have the instruction manual here. The bases here, which they're just sort of the standard 40mm bases, and then we have 3 different sprues here, which I guess we'll get to very shortly. But first, I'd say let's look at the kind of instruction manual here. And like the most of the newer ones, and including the Mega Boss, they're actually in full color now. And they do a nice job of kind of moving you through it, telling you the number of each part and like where to put the glue, kind of in yellow here. And it's relatively important now for kind of these newer kits, just because the fact that a lot of the models are less gonna say multi-part, like the sort of thing that people used to love, in that like they're cut in very specific ways that they're supposed to fit together, which I don't know, some people kind of bemoan the fact that loss of like really easy conversions and such, like I guess kit bashing and such. But I see where they're coming from, but I feel in this sort of style the sculptors have more freedom to make more kind of dynamic, interesting poses that really wouldn't be obtainable through just the sort of multi-part thing of kind of the older models. But yeah, so you can see here you just various sort of options and how to kind of assemble them, and how you add on the armor plates and things like that. But let's just And yeah, just all the different sort of head options and kind of little skulls and glyphs and such you can actually put on their shoulder pads, which look rather nice. Just their different weapon arms. And then I guess, yeah, let's keep going here. And with sort of the jagged gore hackers, these double-handed weapons. So all those things, like what goes with what. It's just, yeah, alright, well. And then yeah, on the back, as they've been doing, like has all the rules, which is pretty nice, just to kind of give you a sense of just what comes in here and what you can do with it the Age of Sigmar way. But I guess all this stuff, I think you can actually get the War Scrolls for free, at least via their app and such, so you don't really have to take this around per se. But I don't know, I guess yeah, we can get into the actual sprues here. I don't know, we can go these sort of one at a time here. Ooh. Yeah, alright, so looking here, so there's this big two-handed thing. It's pretty brutal looking, but then you have the actual, a lot of the sort of the torsos here. And you can see this one actually kind of has part of the head already attached. Oh, and here's actually the claw arm, which is a very sort of interesting design in which the arm, they're holding this sort of like weird little hook dagger, and then the actual claw sort of thing goes over top and can sort of be used, I guess, just grab onto people. But, and then, you know, you have various orc heads, which look very nice, very kind of expressive, more so than some of the previous, I think, like the old 40k knobs and such, which is nice. Although, I guess, admittedly, which I think some people are starting to notice as they're trying to already start to do some conversions and kit bashes with these sorts of things. These orcs, wow, like the actual bodies and such are pretty large. I think kind of akin to some of the plastic knobs and stuff. I believe the heads are a little bit smaller. I feel it almost seems as though with this kind of design, sort of is almost like a slight redesign of orcs in the Warhammer realm, in which their heads and such are a little bit smaller, but their bodies are still really bulky and such, so I don't know, people might have a little bit trouble trying to do kind of their traditional kit bashes and stuff, but I don't know, orc players tend to be pretty good with doing their conversions and such, so I'm sure a lot of great stuff will result from it. But I guess back to talking about the models themselves, so then yeah, actually here's like a plague bearer skull that can go on the shoulder pad, which is pretty neat. And you hear actually those bare feet that I mentioned, which can actually just fit on the various legs here. Yeah, just the different choppas and such. And yeah, so I don't know, it looks very nice. It doesn't look like it'll be particularly hard to assemble. Here's one of the little jaws. It's very classic kind of orc design. Let's go on to the second one here, and same sort of thing. Like here we have these sort of two-handed, I don't know, whatever they are, but then it seemed to come with a bunch of these nice little brutal, vicious sort of daggers to go on their side that look quite neat. Guess let's turn this over here. But yeah, so here this one, most of them are sort of in two halves with their legs and such, but here he has kind of like the armored greaves rather than the, in this case here, some kind of nice sort of leather boots. And here's actually kind of like a little, like a sort of punch spike thing, which actually is similar to the design of the Mega Boss, which looks nice. More sort of skulls, sort of like more the orc looking skulls, all these nice expressive orc faces if they're yelling and whatnot. Looks very nice. Alright, so I guess that's about all that's on here. Pretty reminiscent of the other one, just some slightly different weapons and whatnot. Okay, let's move on to the last here. And here's one of the large two-handed weapons here. the smaller kind of ones. Oh, and this is actually a peg leg. They have a nice peg leg that you can attach, or just in this case you can put on just the leather boot, which also looks cool. Here's a neat just sort of orc skull here that you can put on their shoulder pad. More of the little heads here, and the kind of again more shoulder sort of glyphs here. One of those little punch spike armored greave things. Let's see here. Yeah, no, so all these sprues look pretty nice, pretty straightforward. Not a, like, I mean, I guess probably some of the arms fit better with particular bodies and such, but I feel if you just go through it carefully, looking at the instruction manual, and even if not, just carefully kind of looking at them, I think you'd be pretty easily able to get this stuff to work fine. It wouldn't be much of an issue. But yeah, so look very nice. Like, I'm excited to actually get to working on some of these guys here and assemble them, see how they go together, and just compare kind of scale wise to some of the previous orcs, and particularly to the mega boss himself, and just how it compares to some Space Marines and other models and such. Like, I think it should be pretty neat. Well, I guess thank you everybody for listening, and just keep an eye out on the blogs. Hope we'll have some of these posts on here soon, and other than that, hope to talk to you again soon. Over and out.